Hello, I'm Angel Rojas with DataCorps Technology Solutions. Today is Thursday, October 7th, 2021, and this is your Threat Landscape Update. Hi, and thank you for joining us. Today is Thursday, October 7th, and we've got a few things to discuss. If you've looked at your email, you know that we've got 4 items that we're going to be talking about in today's update. And they're exciting to talk about. They're fascinating. Cybersecurity and IT fascinates me, so I'm excited about bringing these to you today. So the first one is we're going to continue on our series of the 10 cybersecurity statistics that will help keep your business safe and help you prevent a data breach. And today's statistic deals with credentials. 61% of breaches involved a credential. And what's a credential? A credential is going to be a username, a password, a combination of username and password, or really any of the information that is required, such as PINs or verification information to get into an account. And the reason that a lot of these attacks surround credentials or involve credentials are because most people are still not doing a great job of setting good passwords. They use common passphrases. They use numbers that are familiar to them, such as birth dates. They use things that are easily verifiable, like addresses or dogs' names. And, let's face it, a lot of us are on social media and we give away all of the information that an attacker would need to crack a password right on our social media. So those are some of the reasons why passwords become an issue or credentials become an issue in attacks. So what are some of the things that we can do? With credentials, I like to do passphrases. I like to do long phrases. And if you've heard me talk about the topic at any time, you've heard me say that I love to use a sentence for a password. And back a long time ago, our main administrator password for our cloud systems used to be, what would you do for a Klondike bar with a question mark at the end? Super easy to remember, but it is so long that it would take a computer a long, long time, thousands of years to actually be able to hash out that password. So when you're looking at passwords, length is strength, okay? Remember, length is strength. The longer your password is, the better. My recommendation again is to use phrases. And also make sure you don't share your passwords. When you share your password, you lose the ability to track who's been in an account or how an attack happened because your password is out there and being shared. So don't share the password. I recommend you use a password manager. And all of DataCorps clients have access to MyGlue. MyGlue is and it's an extension of one of the tools that we use to document, but it is a password manager that is geared towards you, our clients, and it allows you to store your passwords in there, keep them private. But if there are any passwords you need to share, it includes a tracking mechanism so you can tell who used the password last. So anytime they need access to a password, they can check out the password and then use it, and the system logs each time that they use that password, which is really, really nice. Another great feature of MyGlue, and again, it's available for free to all of our clients, is that the passwords can be shared with us. So if we're managing a domain or a website or anything for you that we need to share a password with you on, we can share it securely using MyGlue. And again, there will be full accountability. Anytime our team uses a password, it will be logged in the system. And anytime that your team uses the password, it will be logged in the system. So there's full accountability, and we are able to reconstruct if a password gets compromised, who might have used it last and how it might have been compromised. So some of the other tips on passwords or credentials to help you with that is definitely use multi-factor authentication everywhere that it is available. So that could be a token. We use these little YubiKeys here at DataCorps. It's a little USB key that puts in a one-time password. We push this little button or contact here, and it puts in, this looks like a keyboard to the system, and it puts in a random password each time. Or if I don't have that key available, I also have a system called Duo. It sits on my phone. It also sits on my watch. And whenever we log on to any of our desktops, we have the option to use that system to send a push notification, and we can either approve or deny it right from our phone or our watch. So we have Duo deployed on our desktops here at the office. We have it deployed on many of our tools. For example, we talked about the MyGlue tool that you use, where our app that goes behind that is called IT Glue. And in order for us to get to IT Glue, which contains many of those sensitive items, we have to go through that multi-factor authentication as well. So we live by the recommendations that we give you. And again, Duo does have a small cost that we have to pass along to you because we have to pay Duo for it. But it is very reasonable considering the added protection that it gives you. So again, don't share passwords, use passphrases. Strength is in length. And make sure you use a password manager, because I also recommend that you don't reuse passwords across sites and systems. If you do that and one of those systems is compromised, that password can be used to compromise other systems. So use that password manager and use multi-factor authentication whenever possible. Also, one of the things that we also recommend when it comes to credentials is to have active monitoring of the dark web for any credentials that could be compromised. And the way that works is we have a system that goes out and searches the dark web. The dark web is essentially the marketplace where stolen and trafficked information is bought and sold. So that's whenever there's a breach, that's where criminals take that information to sell it or just to publish it to embarrass people. And so we have a system that goes and crawls the dark web, and anytime any email addresses that we feed into the system come up and there's a password associated with it in the dark web, we get a notification. So if we sign you up for that service, we can then input your email addresses, or we'll actually input your domain so that we can capture all of your email addresses. And anytime there's a hit, we'll be able to match that to a password. We'll notify you. And if you're still using that password anywhere, you can go ahead and change it. So that's how that works. It's very simple, but it's an effective way to get ahead of a potential password compromise before it can affect you. So let's see, we are talking next about the Facebook outage. And a lot of people on Monday were affected by a very massive Facebook outage. I won't get too technical on how it happened, but one of the things that shocked me was that Facebook essentially exposed a single point of failure to the world. So now we know one single point of failure that can actually take down Facebook and all of its properties. It was so bad that their own employees could not physically get into the building to work on the issue. So just a simple question. Did that outage affect you and your business? And if it did you have a plan to work around it? If you didn't, it's time to take that into consideration and just, again, we've talked about this in the past. It's going to be the next item we talk about, but you definitely want to have contingency plans. And I hate having to repeat things, but I like repeating them because they are that important. We need to have contingency plans for when our businesses lose an application, lose a communication system. When we have a contingency plan, we can continue doing business and we look professional to our clients. So if you were affected by that, it's a good time to go back and revisit. I don't necessarily like to tell people, hey, switch apps if this app goes down, because you know what? If it's one app today, it's going to be a different app tomorrow. But have that contingency plan, make sure it's written down, and most importantly, make sure that everyone in your company knows about it so that they know to execute it and when to execute it. Again, I've given the example that it can be as simple as printing off schedules the night before, or it can be as simple as having an alternative chat application or something else, or just making phone calls if phone calls are available. So again, have those plans, communicate them, and practice them as well. Finally, Cybersecurity Awareness Month is October, and we are publishing some great tips on our Twitter feed and on our LinkedIn feed. If you go check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/DataCorps, or if you check us out on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/company/DataCorps, and those are all in the email. Make sure you share those, like them and share them, and pass them along to your employees as well. And we're probably going to do a few emails here and there to help you. I don't like to bombard with emails and information because it can be overwhelming a lot of the time. But again, feel free to share. Feel free to share this video and this email with your friends, your colleagues, and your employees. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you for the privilege and the blessing that it is to serve you. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.